Travis Wayne Goodsell. Can't get to sleep. I'm having allergy attack, breathing problems. The Utah pollution level is still at green. Because of the rain that we had yesterday. So I can only assume that it's the lingering mold spores. That are going to be forever in this apartment. There are a few of you who are aware that during the course of my lawsuit against the church, my landlord, who was listed as a co-conspirator in that lawsuit, attempted to evict me. And the judge, on the day of the supposed hearing, which was not to be held in a court, but by the landlord business, Judge Waddups, who was supposed to recuse himself if he was not going to be able to be impartial and go accordance with the law and side with me because the defense counsel was in default. That was an automatic win for me, which I was not counting on. But with the evictions, I was able to confirm that the defense were seeking retaliation against me, as I'd made the connection from the church to Dr. Cohn, whom they were paying, to the landlord with the eviction notice. But the church didn't want me to go to court. They didn't want me to present my evidence. And so I presented it in the notifications to the judge on what was going on. And on the morning of, I found out that he had betrayed me and betrayed his country in the process and put my life in danger. But for some strange reason, I got a stomachache that morning. I never get sick. I've got a great immune system. Even my DNA results told me I have excellent DNA. Elite DNA, I believe they use the term, which seems a little white supremacist to me, but it's DNA, not color of skin. Anyway, I was given an extension as I communicated with their lawyer. He said that if I just up and leave by the 31st, 4 p.m., they won't proceed with the eviction. It won't go on my record. And so he then sent me paperwork that I was supposed to sign. I, of course, do not sign. I know better than that. Because my parents at one point in time wanted me to sign over power of attorney to them. Just out of the blue, they had power of attorney papers on the stairs for me and said, please sign this and return this to us. And I'm like, what? Power of attorney? Wait a minute. You guys just had Grandma sign over power of attorney so that you can put her in a nursing home because of her Alzheimer's, because you don't want to take care of her anymore as her Alzheimer's is in the final stages. And so I knew exactly what they were trying to pull. They were going to do something to me. And of course I gave my show of support by ripping it up into small pieces and leaving it on the kitchen table for them. I did not do that with this. This now becomes evidence, because among the many things that we did not agree to in the email is this one particular passage labeled D for 6D, looks like. In the event tenant fails to vacate the leased premises and remove all of his belongings from the leased premises by the move-out date, landlord will and are expressly authorized to present these move-out terms to a court of law as a confession of judgment by tenant in the eviction lawsuit. Oh? Tenant agrees not to contest or oppose landlord's request for any order or notice requiring tenant to immediately vacate the leased property. I gave them notification before the hearing saying I will be contesting this in court. And instead they said, okay, we're having a hearing without the court. And so here I'm realizing they're not going to give me the opportunity to defend myself in court. That is a requirement of Utah law, because let's see, 9A, these move-out terms are governed by Utah law. Oh, I read Utah law. It says nothing about this. So, yeah, this is why I don't sign documents, as this was not what we agreed to, and was not in accordance with law. As I specifically said, I want a court. I'm going to fight this in court. And instead, they hold their own in-landlord business hearing and to evict me. And they even mentioned that here, that I didn't show up for the hearing, but I did contact through email. And here they're trying to claim that they've got a judge who will acknowledge this documentation as authorized and binding, even though I didn't sign it. In the state of Utah, it won't surprise me at all if such a judge can be found by them. And so because they haven't gone to the judge, I have nobody to contact. I can't go to the police because they've already gotten to the police. They did that last year, if you remember any of the stuff I talked about with that. And so this clearly shows their intention to have me kidnapped. Now they say that it's enforceable in Salt Lake City, Utah, except that the eviction notice that I received was served by constables of Utah County. That's where I was disappeared to for 6 years of my life. The first time around by the church, who paid Dr. Cohn for having made the recommendation to the judge, and the judge, of course, said, "Oh, okay, I guess if you say. I'm not really an expert in that field of pseudoscience." And so, yes, it is, this document confirms what my ex Karen told me today, that that's their intention. Karen did not understand because nobody said the word kidnapping to her. Bad people don't do that. Oh, we're going to kidnap them and we're going to force them to conform and comply as we torture them. That's only in superhero movies, where the bad guys confess and are very clear, black and white, good and bad. In real life, the bad guys always think they're the good guys, and that what they're doing is for the good of the many, or themselves, or for the person they're trying to torture. It's for your good. So, suicidal tendencies, perfect theme song for what's going on here. Is it sanitarian? No, that's, well, I think it's institutionalized, that's it. Sanitarium is Metallica. And so, with the 2008 arrest, yes, I realized that's what my parents were attempting to do. They were trying to take over guardianship of me so that they can lock me away, just like they did Grandma. And once I'm locked away in Provo, I lose all my rights. I am no longer a citizen with equal rights as a regular human being. I am like a kid, a child, a minor who has to have a parent or guardian to make decisions for me. And the thing is, I made sure to get my medical records last year. Here's my third of the discharges, the most recent one. And in this discharge from the landlord, they declare that not only am I not their client, that I am also independent, that I'm not in type 2 housing either. I'm in independent housing. I had the documentation all ready to go. And that's why they're going to bypass a court hearing, as you heard him say. By not leaving, it's a confession. And therefore I can't go to court. I can't contest it in court. They think they've got me in checkmate. This is the depths of evil. Where I did the video earlier that they have to commit crime in order to get away with their crime. It's sort of like, once you lie, you have to keep lying to establish your lie in the first place. And it just, again, reiterates how badly they want me gone, and how much last year's mold problem with my air unit was an act of retaliation, as well as an attempt to get rid of me, because they refused to fix it all summer and into the fall. Every single year they attack since 2018, which was 2 years after my second discharge. The first discharge is not in my medical records, but they refer to my having been in the system in 2014. But yet they don't show any records in 2014. Where are those records, guys? You say that it was 2014. Where's those records? It's because the first discharge was in there. That's what they're covering up. And so, yes, they compound crime upon crime upon crime upon crime to cover up the original crime. The original crime was the church paying Dr. Cohn to have me disappear in the first place. If you've done nothing wrong, you have everything to fear. Now, I understand blacks think that they're excluded from the privileges of whites and pretty much everybody else. That they think they alone experience the level of persecution that causes fear just to leave the home, even in their home, as the one lady was murdered because the cops burst in and then shot her in her home. What is Breonna Taylor? Is that who it was? And people are still trying to fight for justice for her because I guess the cops got away with it. I'm just here to say, blacks, you are not alone. I know what you're going through. You may not realize it, you may not recognize it, but I know what you're going through. And the thing is that kidnapping of a vulnerable adult, because I'm still technically a vulnerable adult because I lost the lawsuit against the church, that win was going to free me from that label that Utah had placed upon me because of the church. And so technically I'm still considered a vulnerable adult. And as such, last year, Utah had passed a number of laws, and among those is making the kidnapping of a vulnerable adult as a first-degree felony. We're talking death penalty for Utah. The only problem is that filing pro se in Utah is a no-win situation. Utah refuses to allow a pro se litigant to win. That's part of the bullying tactic of denying a person their First Amendment rights. So, That's the update. And if, well, when those spies of theirs sees this, this is what they call me threatening them. When I expose their crimes and corruption and assaults on me, they then claim victim. He's making this all up. That's why they won't let me go to court, because they can't win. And so, yeah, my life is now in great jeopardy. It's not a matter of I'm going to the streets. No, I'm going to be kidnapped and held hostage for the rest of my life. They will not let me go this next time around. I will be staying there forever. That is my fate, unless somebody will step up and do their job. Or, as I try to tell my ex, who is a firm believer in the church, and so I tell her, as I go over scriptures with her, God will cease to be God if he does not fulfill his word. And so that's the only other thing that would save me, is God stepping in with a hurricane at the Gulf or fires in California. We need something like that for Utah to save me. That would cause an exodus where everybody has their lives turned upside down and ruined because of the destruction. It's prophesied, but will it happen? See, that's weird. Maybe it's just the orange juice, but I'm better now.